Okay, we continue with Mulefes Sappirim, excerpts from the Zohar that were exerted, chosen by Rav Shlomo Al-Ghazi, um, and are also rendered into Hebrew by Rav Shlomo Al-Ghazi, so it's a reliable translation. He was a guy in Olam, one of the heads of the Al-Ghazi family, and we need the Schus of the Zohar badly, badly, badly. Okay. The schusas are these hard times, and we got to get out of this golus barachamim. All right. So we are now on Yom HaSheni, entry Chav Zion, right? Within Yom HaSheni. Oh, but Sefer Bereshis Daf Kuf Lamed Daud Amid Beis. Also Sefer Bereshis. Means Zohar Bereshis. Daf Kuf Lamed Daud Amid Beis, the standard Vilna edition. Anyone who's Amil B'Torah is Mishtaru Torah. He upholds the world and all that God created. Just like in a person, he has many different organs, but all the organs are connected to a single body. Also, Torah is also made up of body parts, as it were, and they all get together in each Masechta, and it's all called Torah Achas. And it's interesting. We just finished recording a shir on Reishis Chachma, and we just learned about this, how all the Torah and all the mitzvah Torah are connected reality itself. Reality, the Adam, and the Torah are three parallel models. And that's why the Adam is called Sel Melokim, and the Torah has Ramachi, Targ Mitzvah, Ramachi Vam Sagidim, and all the Olamas Kulam also would look like a person in a prophetic vision, and it's all parallel and it's all perfect unity, even though it's like different halachas and different mesechtas, like different cells, add up to different organs that all have their place in the one unified body. So being Isaac and Torah is Mekayim reality, and so it's every Masechta will be parallel to the mitzvahs discuss that Masechta's place in reality, and it'll have a spillover effect because if one organ's sick, God forbid, the whole body feels it. One organ's healthy, that health is shared by the rest of the body. Okay. Oh, but celebration of Reish Mem Beis Amidav, also in the Zohar Bereshis Reish Mem Beis Rav in the standard Vil edition. Tamil Lamek Dim Birkas Zvulun Yisachar. Right, why does Zvulun get his brach of sight? Smach Zvulun B'Tzeisecha V'Yisachar Bolecha. Zvulun, be happy with the commerce that you go out and do, and Yisachar sitting in the tent of Torah. Why is Zvulun? They had a partnership, but why is Zvulun mentioned before Yisachar? Ve'eshiv, and the Zohar answers. Because since Zvulun supported Yisachar, he gets the bracha first, because he's the one who enables Yisachar to do his thing. So that's why Zvulun comes first. So from here we learn Zok the Zayar, Torah, someone who supports those who learn Torah. Noto brachas milumal mata, gets brachas from above and from below. And now that he supports Torah, is going to get two shulchans. So I have a good situation on Mazeh, that's one table, and his other table have a good situation on above. Mash'eno zoche acher zoche ba'oisher al Mazeh v'zoche lo chelik l'mabah. Right, no one else has that privilege like those who support Torah. Right, he's zoche to have to have wealth in this world, and also zocher to a chelk l'mabah. Right. Entry Chavtes, because of Sefer Shmos, Daf Neches Merav, in Zohar Shmos, Neches Merav, standard Vilna edition, that's Zohar Chelk Beis, Daf Neches Merav. Master Shnikreis Ois. Why is Torah called Ois? Hashem Ois La'amo Yitin is referring to the Torah. Torah is called might. Torah is called might. So this is so pertinent to our situation. Torah is called might. There's only that breaks the goyim that are standing up against us, like Limud Torah, and therefore, after you say some Tehillim because of the matzav, don't do a retarded kumzitz. Go straight from your Tehillim back to learning, because that's what will help, not a retarded kumzitz. I don't want to hear Achenu anymore. If I hear someone sing Achenu again, I'm going to break something. All right? go. You want to do something to break the koch v'yimasalam, so bishlam at tefillah, right? Hey, it's my video. I could go on a rant, right? So uncle says, but it's also all right. So tefillah indeed is called weaponries. Okay, so we know tefillah helps to help Am Yisrael be nosha miyad tsar. Yaakov says he took this, Shechem from the Amori Bacharbi Kashi is Salosi Vosi tefillah. All right, but Torah is called Oiz, which is even more basic because tefillah is a weapon. Torah is called strength. If you're a wimp, and you can't pull back on your bow or you can't stab hard, what good is it? Torah is the Oz that destroys the goyim, and that's what we have to do. Be mischazik bismanazeh in Torah and Torah and Torah. So everyone understands. He's chach a bissel tefillah, and that's the right thing to do. But right after the Pirkei Tehillim, don't sing a stupid song. Go learn some Torah. Right, because that's what gives eyes. She'en davar ba'olam she'shaber koach umas ha'olam shel oiskim b'Torah. So it'll break the koach of the umas ha'olam, except at the time when Am says oiskim b'Torah. All right, so from a Zohar. Okay, it's not just a literature shazach. There's a Zohar. Okay, kaza b'sefer vayikra daftar. So the Zohar and vayikra daftar on base mizor chel gimel daftar on base. Torah said it creates Torah. Torah should it create Tor. Shneimar b'kol Torah shar atzenu. It's Torah shebechsav per se. It's called Torah. HaTorah v'amitzvah. Torah zu Torah shebechsav. The Gemara says in Brachos Daf Hey. So Torah per se, if it's not used as a general category, if you want to say Torah per se, it's Torah shebechsav. And Tor is alluding to Torah without the final hey, is alluding to Torah shebal peh. The kol Torah nishma. The kol Torah. It's verbal. Torah Shebal Peh. I mean, he's just bringing in a lot of Zohars that talk about in Yonei Torah. That's the whole first half of his book. In the second half of the book, there'll be Zohars that talk about Avodah, right? So he's bringing a lot of Zohars that anything that pertains to Yonei Torah. All right, entry Lamed Aleph. B'Sefer Vayikra Daf Kuf Gimel Av. Also in Zohar and Vayikra. Tzchel Gimel Daf Kuf Gimel Amud Av. In Bechukas Hatechu. Now, if you walk in my statutes, so the chukim dafka, to walk in the chukim is called Torah Shebal Peh, right? And but guard the mitzvah is called Torah Shebechsav. So I'm going to speculate, but I don't think I'm going out on limb. Say because we also dash shetiu amelim bator. That's why telechu, don't just stand in one place. Strive, keep moving. Referring to the mind, don't do art scroll, right? Active mind. The mind should constantly be in motion, going to more and more penetrating depth. And we need that for the Torah Shebal Peh, right? So the Torah Shebal Peh requires amelus. So in Shetu Amelum Batorah, the Zohar says, Torah Shebal Peh, and the two Mamorei Chazal Shtim, because the Ikra Amelos Bator is in Torah Shebal Peh. That's Telechu. The mind shouldn't sit still. The mind should constantly be working. But keep the mitzvahs in Torah Shebechsav. Okay. Next. Entry Lamed Beis. Because of the Sefer Bereshis Daf Kuf Samach Samad Alf. So in Zohar and Bereshis Daf Kuf Samach Samad Alf, it says like this: Amar Rabbi Lazar. Kolosik batar lishma emisasa idei yitzara shu nachash vu malchamos amesim bin ashika tersev yishakeh v'shikos piu. Right, someone who's Isaac in Torah lishma. That's what we're learning about in Reishis Chachma Torah lishma. According to Reishis Chachma, is Torah Amras Asos. The person who really is engaged in Torah lishma does not die through the Yitzhara, which is a manifestation of which a manifestation of was the original snake, which is the angel of death, who is Yetzaru Asatan, who Malcham Maves. People who are people who are not Davik in Torah, their death is an act of being the Malcham Maves. Handed over to the angel of death, handed over to the Sitra Achra, right? But a person who's Isaac in Torah, he doesn't die by being handed over to the Sitra Achra. Case in point, the Malcham Maves, who is from the other side, right? He dies by a divine kiss, and that's Misas Nashika, and it's a Shakem Shos Piu, because Moshe Right? As it says by Moshe, he died al pi Hashem. He died by the mouth of Hashem, meaning through Zezazar, a kiss. Right? The Ram writes about this in the Morning Nevuchim also. Our death, for the tzaddik is like it's called Misa Nashika. The Ram says that it's the Ram. In matter of fact, no point in me quoting the Rambam in the Morning Nevuchim, because the Ram in essence says this Zar, and this would even be a raya, perhaps one of the many rayas that the Rambam had access to the Zar. That Reuven Margolius did tremendous research on this. It's printed by Mossad Rav Kook, Kodesh from Reuven Margolius, called a Rambam Vazar. It's printed within a bigger volume called Pninim from Reuven Margolius. Okay. Go away, Sonny. Come on, Ichsev b'Moshe, as written by Moshe, right? Al pi Hashem, right? He died al pi Hashem. Who dvekas achelik b'chlal? So he died by al pi Hashem, by the mouth of Hashem, with the kiss of Hashem, and it's like an act of dvekas of the part clinging to the whole. It's that type of sensation, right? Even though the neshama is not physically a part of God, God is one and indivisible, but it's called chel kamimal because it has a part-whole relationship. Like you're a part of the family, you're a part of family. His whole family doesn't mean you were carved out from the family. And also, the person who dies misas nashika, he feels that is chel ki Hashem amar nafshi, right? That the chelik is davik in the kol, right? But it's a type of relationship, part and whole. Right, it's not a physical part and whole, as we well know. And that's why tzaddikim who are mishtadol amaltar ena mitamim gufam elutar. That's the secret of why why is it? Spiritually speaking, this is not to be taken. This is not to be taken literally al pi halacha, although there are those who do. Right, we know that there are kohanim that go to kivrei tzaddikim. And it's based on the Zohar, but the poskim say not to take the Zohar literally. But in me, you understand, philosophically speaking, not halachically speaking, philosophically speaking, there's no tumah. There's no tumas meis, because a guy who dies because he was handed over to the Malach HaMavis, so that's why there's tumah, because he was handed over to the Sitracha, which is tumah. This guy was not handed over to the Sitracha, that's why there's no tumas meis, right? Yeah, but of course, you can't be samach on this la'alacha. The poskim were all maskim not to be samach on this la'alacha, even though there are some that do, as we know. But Hashem yisachlem shekavanasum l'shamayim, right? But he said, but in a certain way, tzaddikim are not mitamaguf from elotar. Kamal yo based on question. Now, really, a source for this Zohar also in the Talmud in Nigla is that we have Gemaras that Eliyahu was in a basic forest and Chacham asked him, hey, what are you doing? Eliyahu was a Kohen. I'm going to take it in the time we saw son, and Eliyahu said, well, he was in the basic forest being Isaac and Tzaddikim. Tzaddikim are not mitame. And that's the secret Zok Zar, that Yom Shemes Rebbe Butler Kahuna. Why? Butler Kahuna is actually like Kohanim were able to be metamative, generally Kuhuna's, Aser's contact with the dead, but Kahuna, because he wasn't Tamei Mesa, Kohanim could be Isaac in his Levaya. Like I say, this is consult your local posuk if you are a Kohen before you rely on this. Okay? But you understand the idea philosophically. You can understand philosophically that a tzaddik is not Tamei Mace if he was died Benashika, the way a guy is if he was handled Sitrachra, but Kohanim should, halachically have to treat both dead bodies equally, even though spiritually it's not the same, right? At least that's the way we paskin. Oh, but Sefer Bereshis Daf Kuftei Dalet on the base. It's also in Sefer Bereshis Kuftei Dalet on the base. Malas Atar Shkomi Zazu Elazeh Dochba B'Schar Tov Maba. Anyone's Isaac in Torah Elazeh gets Schar Tov in he gets, he'll be rewarded for it amply in this world, and it also gets him out of the judgment that has to be faced when going to Olam Haba. And now someone who, and that's if you're also in Torah, even not Lishma, right? Right? Someone who's Isaac in it, Lishma, when he leaves this world, the Torah announces his coming to the heavens, and protects him. That all those who have prosecutions against him, prosecuting angels, can't get anywhere near him. The Torah protects him. And that's what it means in Mishlei. Right? When you walk, it guides you. Kashu shochev bekever, megino love, shoyanidon bekever, gam losid. But when a person also, so I guess the Zohar is referring to the continuation of the pasuk. Ubeshach b'cha tishmar alecha. Right? When you, the pasuk says, when you lay, it will protect you. It's when you are laying in the grave, the Torah protects him. That you are not just safe from chibur akever, but even in the future, it guards you from even the future din. That there's a big yom adin by the time of the resurrection. Leading into Olam Haba. Even at the time of resurrection, the Torah will always be your advocate, your defense lawyer. That's when you wake up. I think it's amazing. The Torah will speak for you, right? That's how the Zohar learns it. Amar Rabbi Elazar. So said Rabbi Elazar, Remez kiaf pisha ba'isa shayach v'ravav lo b'shul zeish kach Torah. So lefi what this Chazal, Rabbi Elazar commenting on the if the Torah is also tzichacha, literally means your speech. So he say it's not just that it'll speak for you, but your speech. That at that time when you get out of the grave, you get out Yakum Adamin Offer, Lo Shul Zeish Kach Torah, just because he was dead. Perhaps for centuries, he will not have forgotten his life. So Kitosli Tzichacha doesn't just mean it is to be taken literally. You will speak in Torah that you learned. The Torah that you learned will not be forgotten. So, aside from the Torah speaks for you to protect you, but also Tzichacha literally. You will say over the Torah that you learned in your lifetime. Being dead will not cause you to forget your Torah. The Torah is mamish in the very guts of the Talmud Chacham. It's preserved there, and the Torah is constantly speaking to the Talmud Chacham that learned it. Lozu bilvad, and not only this, any Dvar Torah you worked, you tried to understand, you couldn't. It was a hard tasteless, and you just couldn't crack it, right? Let's say, as an example, or a hard shtickle zayar. You really tried, not like thought about for 15 seconds, I can't get it, move on. No, you really tried, you just, whatever, weren't zochah to understand it. You really tried, as a Torah Megala, then the Torah will reveal itself to him. I am the Dvar Torah that you tried to understand, you couldn't, but you really worked. That Dvar Torah reveals itself to the person. That you will speak in it, you will also speak, and be able to clearly explain all those divrei Torah you tried to understand weren't zochah, but since you tried, that those divrei Torah will reveal themselves to you in their full clarity, and you'll be able to say them over. But a person is not osik b'Torah. Again, they throw him into hell. And that is Vayashikol saw Bora. That's what's just alluded to. Was not to be taken. The possible also inside. They threw him into the pit. It's the Torah that pasuk, also is maramaz not on Yosef Tzaddik, but it's maramaz on those who do not learn Torah. Zu Gehenna, the pit is Gehenna. Ma'atam mishum de mayim borek ein bo mayim zu Torah. So Zohar says you go into the pit. Why? Because a borek ein bo mayim. Right? You get thrown in the pit because you yourself were an empty pit, empty of water, as the pasuk says. What's the water? Torah. You were Mayim Einbo, right? So you were an empty pit. So you get thrown into the pit, which is Gehenna. It's Mida, Keneged Mida. Weiter. Oh, we're doing a lot tonight. It's going good. Just make sure I didn't skip anything. Yeah. Weiter. Entry la medalid. Oh, b'sefer Bereshis. No things said Bereshis. Reish Vavam Beis. Amar Rishim Bayochai. Said Rishim Bayochai. B'lamazeh she'yisol zakoyin nikreis Torah zois. Torah zois. V'zos Torah Sam Moshe. L'asik shov Moshiach yikra Torah zeh. V'also zman v'kol ator nishma baratzeh shedivrei Torah ravim bosman k'kol ator. So he says, you can actually synthesize it with the Zohar that he quoted earlier. But let's first touch, the Zohar that he just brought here. So Shimon says, the Torah of Olamaz is called Zois. Zois HaTorah Shesam Moshe. Now Zois is Lashon Nekeva. Because our Torah learning is kind of weak. Yes, I hope this is gender specific. right? The Torah is like weak, like our current learning, relative to what our learning, what Torah should be. It's like Zeus. It's like Nekeva. It's like weak, like a woman. It's not. We don't have Torah. And it's full stark kind. It's full koach. The chisaron obviously is in us, but that's in Olam Hazeh. But lost in love because you have a Mashiach. But when Mashiach comes, yeah, right. And the future, when Mashiach comes, even in Olam Hazeh, but in this man of Mashiach, right? It's going to be the Torah Zeh. It's going to be called Zeh, masculine. We'll have and that's I think we once quoted the Zohar before that. No, it's Lashon Chazal. It's not the Zohar, but it's in. So that all the Torah of Olam Hazeh is Hevel b'fnei Torah Shel Mashiach. All the Torah we learned throughout the days, throughout history, is all just hot air relative to the Torah of Mashiach. So Zohar is saying, all the Torah that we learn in Olam Hazeh prior to Mashiach is Zeis. But after Mashiach comes, it's Zeh. Los's mind that regards have a Kol HaTorah, and the Kol HaTorah is heard in our land. The Torah, I guess Kol HaTorah is the sound of a bird. That it's a beautiful sound. That Divrei Torah will be so sweet at that time, like the Kol HaTorah, like the sound of that Torah. I think it's some type of bird, right? So it's referring to of course, Torah is sweet when you understand it. What makes Torah learning hard and unenjoyable is when it's just hard to understand. They're sweet because they have to be so well understood. And it's shtim with what we learned earlier, that Torah refers to Torah Sheba'al Peh, because Chumash is not going to change. Chumash is not going to be added to or detracted from. We'll understand Chumash better, but as the Rambam writes in Hilchos Talmud Torah, right, the Pirush of Chumash, or the Pirush of Mikra, is Torah Sheba'al Peh. So our deeper understanding of Chumash is also Torah Sheba'al Peh. So that's the Kol HaTorah, Torah Sheba'al Peh, Nishma B'Artzeinu. And that's really what's so hard. The hard part of Torah is Torah Sheba'al Peh. Mikra is simple by comparison, right? So that's as a Kol HaTorah, Nishma B'Artzeinu. Yeah, there's a lot to add to this. Okay, but let's do one more. Entry Lamidei. Besed Reish Afresh Beis Amid Avo Beis is the shtickle Zohar is in on the Zohar Bereshis in the standard edition Zohar Chelkaf. It starts on Reish Mem Beis Amid Aleph and it pours over to Amid Beis. Kol Mishos B'Torah Zochav V'Kofa Chol B'Goyim Raim Shaboam Umoridam LeEmek Atom. Anyone's Isaac in Torah, he bends, he subdues all bad stuff, all types of bad things that can happen. The B'Goyim Raim, whether it's the the mazikim, or whether it's any mishaps. So he subdues all the goyim raim in the world, and he puts them in the nukva, the tahoma rabba. We discussed this. We've had Zohars that he brought that discuss this. You put into the oblivion, the oblivion, right? Which is called nukva Torah emek hatom. Because at time when night falls, shultim kol mazim v'klayim v'chamorim matchil shabam. All the evil forces, reign, and the evil forces are called dogs. They're called donkeys, and that's the Chazal give that sibit. The first mishmara chamor nor. Second one klavim tzawakim, because up to chatzos is the baddies, and that's why the baddies, the bad called chamor and kalev. That's the secret. Chamor mishra chamor nor shei kalavin tzoakim, because all up to chatzos. Let's say and then during the first half of the night, as we're going to learn, it's the mazikim are given they're given permission to go out and harm people that are sleeping on their beds. Right, and the neshama of Tzekim, they go up to heaven at that time. In the good old days, people used to go, the tzaddikim go to sleep right after nightfall, right after Mariv, eat something and go to sleep, and then they wake up at Chatzos to learn. So, and this is also the halacha, that all the dinim of the night are, and that night we don't learn Torah Shebechsav, and we don't say Yudum Midas Arachamim. That's all the first half of the night. That's why you could say second half of the night. Right, the dinim. First half of the night is where all the baddies are out, and they could, hit people that are ought to be sleeping. When the Sharvan Sekim goes up to the Mesifta Rakia, but when we reach midnight, right? Misar, that's when the northern wind blows. That's how Darmach knew how to wake up. Northern wind blew the strings of his kinor. Also, fortunate is the lot of the person who gets up at that moment at Chatzos to learn Torah. Once he begins to be Isaac and Torah. Because so now the guy gets up at Chatzos and starts learning, right? At that time, with the power of his learning, it's combined together. That's Chatzos, and they don't have their dominance anymore, but that's not enough. It's Chatzos plus the guy's learning. So the guy with his learning, that's what finishes the process of stuffing all the baddies back into the oblivion, back into the Nukva Tom Rabbah. Right? Well, the word one is also Nikvei Tom Rabbah. He puts it into the Nukva the Tom Rabbah. Zeh side Yisachar Chama Garm Rovetz Ben Shosayim. So Yisachar is like that donkey that lays. Well, so that's so he's Zara saying to it Yisachar Deis Kol Torah. So you have to read like this: Yisachar, comma, because he's Osik B'Torah. Grom Lachama Lorim Megarma Mal Sheovo Roido Ben Mishtaim Bezuman Afra. Right? Yisachar, comma, through learning Torah causes the chamor that was laying to go Ben Mishpasayim, to go between between the blocks, whatever it is. It refers to like being stuck down into down in the earth, down into the contaminated earth. Yisachar subdues the donkey, right? With that Reish Ben Gimel Amud Aleph Kosav, and the Zohar further says on Reish Ben Gimel Amud Aleph. Call me Shosam Torah, Machash Torah was I say Torah is Machadish things in Torah. Akash Baruch Hu lo kam, Akash Hu takes those chidushim. Those them Shari Shamayim, and he opens up in front of those chidushim the gates of heaven. Machnisam Tasvor, and he brings these, these words, this chidush of Torah, the guy's chadish right under his glory. And when Akash Hu like we learned so many times. At Chatzos, he goes to play, to talk and learning with the tzaddikim in Gan Eden. So that chiddush that the man who's still alive was Macharish, he also, at that time, also takes out that chiddush from under his throne of glory, and he plays with it, and he has simcha from it. And also at that moment when Hashem enjoys those words of chidush Torah, the guy was Macharish, that's when they're written in the book. As it were, if there's Torah in Shemaim, it's when they're added to the Sefer Torah in Shemaim. Sefer Zikaron, right? Even one person who's Osik in Torah, or to be Osik that it's written, it's by Hashem, it's written in a book of memory. Now that Chishor gets added to the body of Torah in Shemaim. It's written in Sefer Zikaron. All right. All right, we'll do one more small one. Lamed Vav. Because of Sefer Shemos, it's a small entry. Sefer Shemos, Tap Chav Zayin Amud Aleph, right? Zohar Chav Zayin Amud Aleph, Chelik Beis Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. Because of Torah Lotzi Din Lamido, if you're asking Torah to like clarify the halacha with full clarity, Kiu Kim Kol Torah, that engagement to speak Lotzi Adin Lamito, whether it's a Din Torah to get it right or just I assume it applies to clarifying the din on anything properly. It's as if he upheld the whole Torah. I love your Torah so much. We say to him, all day I speak in it. So, because I love your Torah, love of Torah is demonstrated when you want to get it right. You want to get it right. So, true love of Torah is to learn thoroughly. That's true love of Torah. I'm talking about loving Torah, but you learn shallow, and you don't care if you got it right or not. That's not loving Torah. Loving Torah is the Lotzia Dilamito. Love of Torah, Zok the Zara, is to love. If you really love the Torah, you work hard to get it right. So it says it's like I'm osikin all day, and it's what I speak about. So I guess what I'm guessing is that even on just getting one thing right. Since he cared so much to get it right, immediately gets schar as if he learned that whole day, whether he learned that whole day or not. He immediately, on that alone, he gets schar as if it was kol yomi sichasi. He would learn kol Torah kula on that day. That's the gist of it. Okay, want to second guess it? Look it up. Okay, we'll stop here. All right, the Schus of the Zar should help us to cut off the kotzim that are surrounding the Shoshana and the Luk Meshchinta Mavshu Gusa, Venefka Migusa Baracham in Amen Ken Yirotzen.